Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to tonight's webinar. We are doing the Reiki Challenge Insiders webinar series, Wednesday night webinars. Super excited to have you all here. If you're watching the replay, welcome. Thank you for watching. I'm really excited about tonight, not only because this is our first introduction to our new Reiki Insiders group, but because I have an awesome guest that I'm going to be having come on with me here in a little bit. And I just wanted to welcome you all, let you know what the Reiki Challenge Insider is all about, and get a little acquainted as we wait for everyone to come on. So if you're here and you can see and hear me okay, let me know in the chat box. It's the screen to your right. You have this little chat column. While we're getting ready, make sure you have a glass of water. If you're a note taker, grab a pen and paper. Let me know that you guys can see and hear me okay. Choppy. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Cassie, for checking. So while we're getting started, I am a little choppy. I just saw that one. That was on my to-do list to check, and I forgot. So the Reiki Challenge Insider is all about not only participating in our 21-day Reiki Challenge by watching the Reiki Healing Temple meditation and doing 21 days of self-Reiki care, and a newbie watching the Reiki video tutorial and really supporting your own Reiki care. Like that's a Reiki challenge is all about getting back into the habit of doing your self-care Reiki every day. So most of the time when you become attuned to level 1, you are asked to do Reiki for 21 days. And so this is just a reminder of doing that again. Hey, Cynthia, I'm so glad you're here. Let me know if you see and hear me okay. So I'm getting some feedback that I'm kind of choppy, and I'm seeing it too. So let me know if it's choppy for you. I might have to go get my husband to get the cord and see if that will help. So welcome. And as we are doing this, as you are a Reiki Challenge Insider, not only, I know it really is choppy. I'm getting distracted by it. Let me go see. Will you grab the cord? I've got tech help on the way. I'm going to see if I can plug in my Ethernet cable and see if that will help, because I'm getting it choppy on my end, and usually I don't see it this bad. So I want to make sure you guys are having a positive visual experience and I'm not getting distracted, because I totally am. Let's see what we can do. All right, here we go. Let's see if this helps. That is not the right one. Hold on. We have a cord. I had to order a 50-foot cord, you guys. So hopefully that will make things a little bit faster.
It did.
It did. Okay, great. That's good. That's what it's supposed to do. Okay, so let's see if I can try and not get distracted. Because the choppiness was really it was distracting to me. So the Reiki Challenge Insider Group, not only do you get these 3 webinars, we're going to do them every Wednesday. Today, we kind of switched up the schedule a little bit. I was planning on doing part 1 as your emotional connection to physical health ailments, with an overarching understanding the underlying reasons to your health issues. Like that's the overarching webinar series. So part 1 was going to be emotional connection to physical health. And that's kind of like, looking at the chakras, looking at, the underlying causes of emotional strain leading to the physical manifestation of disease. And then we're going to dive deeper with part 2, which we switched up. We're making it part 1 on soul contracts or soul agreements. Some people like to call them agreements, past lives, and how that carries over into this lifetime. So that's what we're going to be focusing on tonight. And then our third week, we're going to be doing honoring the body temple. And that's really going to be not only, nourishing the body with healthy food, clean water, but really taking it on to the solar plexus level, looking at our self-worth, looking at how you are treating yourself, taking that negative inner critic and making it set aside. I'm getting a little bit of echo. Do you guys hear an echo?
A little bit.
No bit. Yeah, that's not good either.
See if you can't just ignore it.
I'm going to try. Okay. So let's first start off with setting the intention for tonight, because that's going to help me get really clear for you guys. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So if you guys want to join me in just doing a little self-Reiki kind of intention setting for this evening, we call upon our spirit guides, Reiki guides, power animals, guardian angels, those love and light entities to join with us, to help heal us and guide us, that this information may resonate with us, and that we can see the correlation in our life if it's for our highest good and the highest good of all. And if any of us during this has something come up, if we get triggered, may we ground it with Mother Gaia for her reuse and recycling. Blessed be. That's our intention for tonight. So with that, I want to let you guys know that if you have specific questions, you may ask it at the Ask a Question box. And I'm wondering if they're getting an echo from your computer, Daryl. Like, am I too loud on your end?
I'm not sure what I should do.
Do you want to try just turning down your mic?
And how?
Oh, good, Cynthia. So is it sounding okay? Okay. It sounds better to me right now.
Yeah. I'm not sure where to go on this platform to do any of that checking.
It would be on your desktop, like the actual volume, but I think we're okay.
Okay.
But if we get an echo, you might want to just turn down the actual volume on your computer, so I'm not as loud on your end. Does that make sense?
Is that better?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh man, I don't like freezing and having tech issues. Is Mercury still in retrograde?
So,
it was last time. Okay, so what we're going to do is
just throw a bubble around the whole thing and ask for spirit to help us get this technology running smoothly.
Yeah, right. I think we're definitely need some Wi-Fi angels to be with us tonight. So what I'm going to do now is bring on Daryl. Daryl is one of my good friends. I met her a few years ago at a women's retreat we were both a part of. And she has been doing clairvoyant work for over 20 years. And she is the person I look to if I've got stuff that I can't figure out on my own. She's the woman I turn to. So without further ado, we're going to bring on Daryl, and we're going to share the screen. There we go. We should see both of us. Hello. Do you want to go dive in a little bit deeper on that introduction so that everyone knows who you are?
Sure. So since about 1995, I've been doing this work full time. I'm a clairvoyant and a spiritual teacher. My focus is on seeing life from the soul perspective and helping people have more information in order to do self-healing, understanding their emotions and their triggers, relationships, a lot of soul agreement work. But I've been kind of in the practice of developing teaching methods and tools to help people actually manifest changes in their lives, not just hear information and have somebody say, oh, you just need to let that go. But I'm actually creating processes for people to easily do so. And tonight, my focus, I'm really thrilled to be helping you, Christine, with this topic, because some of the most profound changes I have ever witnessed for myself or for clients is being able to tap into some past life story, see how it correlates to now, and actually release it.
Fantastic. I'm so excited. I hope you guys are excited.
And by the way, Christine is my go-to in Bozeman, so we're good with that.
We do that for each other. It's fantastic. So I first want to talk about the way I see how we come into this world. When we're born, what do we bring with us, and how do we set ourselves up for expansion, for growth, for learning? And we've said the phrase, we said the word, but I really want to help you guys understand the deeper meaning. When Daryl and I say soul contract or soul agreement, it really is that when we are born, before we come in, we set out to have an agreement, to have a soul plan of what we want to accomplish. What do we want to learn? What lessons do we want to set before us so that we can work on it? And so many times there are things on that to-do list from previous lives that want to come through, and so that we can continuously work on them. And so we have this soul plan. And we come in many times with numerous other people in soul groups. We have this plan to work with certain individuals so that we can teach them and they can teach us, or mutually. So there's this overarching understanding that we have come here to work on some things.
And can I throw out, it's not just work. Sometimes it's agreements for love and joy and helpers, and sometimes it's blessings and to have some ease, or things like that. I mean, it's work on a soul level, but on a human level, it's not like just that.
Yes, absolutely, totally agree with that. So a lot of times that is the work, how to utilize the bodies that we're giving this soul suit, if you will, to experience life on earth and take in the pleasures that we have here. And so what we want to talk about tonight is how this directly affects our health. And so we have this overarching webinar series on understanding the underlying reasons for our health issues and looking at our soul plans, agreements, our soul groups. That all gives us information on why we have things show up in our body. And so I want Daryl to explain this, because I have some of my clients, like it's, 5-10% of my clients might have past soul issues come up. And then I'm like, oh, I know what that is because I've worked with Daryl. But this is what she considers like her superpower. It's very much past life stories come through very easily. And so she has much more experience in this particular area. And so I want Daryl to explain how your soul agreements really affect our health issues today and in the bodies that we choose.
So in my head, a couple of different types of soul agreements. One is when you're making agreements with other people to do some kind of relationship. And to answer the question that popped up, yes, that would be like your family. We make those core issues with our loved ones, our parents, our children, enemies, all kinds of people. And then the other kind of soul agreement is, what am I going to show up and try to do better than I did last time? It might be, for instance, maybe I was a pirate in some other lifetime and I learned my lesson the hard way by the next lifetime coming in and being the victim of a pirate. And so I'm going to come in this time And maybe I'm going to have really bad issues with my right knee and my right eye and some other things that are going to trigger what I learned in those other lifetimes so that I don't repeat my old mistakes. The physicality of our soul memory is very closely tied to the lessons we've learned in other lives and the information that's available to us that we can bring into our lives now, so we can move on from the point of graduating from the last class rather than starting over in kindergarten every time. And so with that idea in that same example of the pirate and then the victim of the pirate, I use the word triggers a lot. When something happens similar in this lifetime, so say maybe you're moving along on your path, whatever that is, and you start to have all kinds of trips about money or greed, or you start squabbling with somebody and you're kind of fighting over something that you shouldn't be. And then you start having those eye problem comes up and your knee problem comes up. And if I was to work with somebody like that, or Christine, for you to be working with somebody, or even somebody to kind of start having their own intuition about these things, what you might discover is, oh, that right eye is from when I always held that thing looking out to sea. And my soul memory, my body is working as a messenger for me. The body is the messenger of the soul. So it's kind of coming up so that I can go, well, what's going on with this eye here? Oh, right. That time that I looked through like that and I was that greedy pirate and it's happening again. What's happening in my life that's kind of similar right now? What should I be careful not to do? What do I want to move forward with? So sometimes that, and sometimes just to understand it and have that little ding go off in your head is all it takes to clear the physical stuff. Of course, the longer you go on not dealing with physical problems, the more it gets kind of entrained into your reality. But so that's one example, just kind of a real quick little thing. But I've been studying this and working with it, and I've done probably 50 past life regressions for myself, and for lots of different reasons over the course of this time. So I have a lot of what I've seen as kind of these generic patterns in regard to physical issues. So for instance, things like people have migraines, and a lot of times it's from being hit over the head in some kind of battle, or there's other things about migraines. They're more complicated, but just regular headaches or head injuries. People who tend to have a lot of head injuries in this lifetime, it's almost like spirit is trying to kind of, your soul and your spirit kind of work together, and your soul and spirit work together to kind of go, oh, she needs a little wake-up call. So I'd like to kind of segue into another example. I think actually I can kind of explain things, but the best way to explain things is through examples. So my very first personal experience with past life was spurred on by a major back injury that I had. I injured my lower back. I could hardly walk. The doctors were telling me, well, there isn't anything we can operate on, so it's just going to be like that. Prior to my injury, I was in a job that I hated. I was married to somebody that it was really awful and abusive, but I wasn't looking at it. And I really, really wanted to be doing the work that I am doing now, but I was afraid to tell people that I even believed in astrology. I really wanted, I just kept trying to pretend I was normal. So after this back injury, I went into a therapist that I've been working with, and she said, let's do a hypnotherapy and see what your body wants to tell you about your back. And I was like, okay. And immediately, as soon as she put me under, it was like, boom, I'm an old man. I've got this big gray beard. I'm in a round stone building with all these herb jars all around. There's a book on the table that's all handmade, and it's got my writing all over it. And I knew this to be my work. I knew that I was some kind of herbalist or scholar or metaphysical sort of person. And then she said, okay, and how does this relate to your back? And then the angry crowd came from down the street from the church, pulled me out of this building and started beating me with sticks. And at the moment in this regression, and keep in mind, I'm not suffering, I'm not feeling it. It's like watching a movie or having a kind of memory replay in your mind, like a dream state. So this angry mob comes and hits my back. And as soon as it was like this giant vibration, like a tuning fork just going, I'm awake, I'm paying attention, now I know what this is about. And this huge realization that my back was trying to tell me, look at this, look at what's in your soul memory. What are the associations that are still true? What are the associations that are not true? And that's the main key with looking at any past life. You can be real fascinated. There's a lot of people that want to say they've been Cleopatra. It's not useful. So as far as I can see, the main reason that any of this information can come up and be valuable is so that you can say, okay, what's the same? I'm probably not going to be killed this lifetime for being an herbalist. They might laugh at me or ignore me or argue with me or whatever, but I'm not going to be killed. So I can kind of talk myself down from the shelf, the ledge, and just kind of go, okay, it's all right. I release my fear of the past repeating, and it's safe for me to move on. And so that's what I did with that realization in that work, in that experience. I came out of that hypnotherapy session, stood up, pain-free, bent over and touched my feet to the ground, or my hands to my feet. And from that point on, it started healing. The good news is also that I paid attention, I quit my job, I divorced my husband, and I started doing this work. And I wonder how long I would have endured that miserable life if my back hadn't activated and opened me up to all this other information and way of not manipulating necessarily, but exposing and reweaving the past life story. Your body will be screaming at you until you understand what's going on the soul level, and you can actually work with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when I came into CU, one of the first times, we had a very similar experience with my own health. It was the same, I'm worried that I'm going to be killed for doing my healing work because I had been a healer before. And so a lot of times it felt very much like this is a wake up. Whatever the physical manifestation in the body is like a wake up to be like, remember, we've been through this before. It's that cellular memory piece. And then recognizing it helps you able to let it go and then make a new choice.
Yeah. And one thing to think about too is people have said, well, what's the purpose of having these past life memories if we don't remember what they are? And some of the past life memories that we have are really useful, even just on autopilot. We don't have to know the stories. If I go stand next to the edge of a 500-foot tall cliff and I get that feeling, I better back up, it's because I've fallen off and died before. And so that's what some people call instinct. I just call that past life memory. And and so there are going to be certain circumstances that the association is consistent, the cause and effect, the result will be the same every lifetime. If you stab yourself in the heart, you're going to die. Or you get stabbed in the heart, you're going to die. If you, become an herbalist or a metaphysician like yourself, Christine, or like me, you may have been killed in 10 or 15 lives for doing that. But
right, probably was.
Yeah, but we just keep coming back to try, don't we? We're persistent. So, but to disconnect the cause and effect trigger is to take charge of your own soul journey. So most of the past life stories, the trauma that come to our physical health issues are due to having died in past lives. Actual physical traumas, starvation, drowning, all kinds of actual deaths. And the that you encountered at the time, the present life health issue will be like a shadow of it, or a kind of a lesser degree of it, just to kind of be a trigger without it killing you. And so the analogy I give it is the root cause is like the rock thrown in the water, and your experience of the health issue now is like one of those ripples that comes off of the, that moves across the water. And so, for instance, like I was explaining with the pirate thing, maybe you've got an eye issue where you're having some hard time seeing, or there's cloudiness, or it gets red all the time, or sore, or whatever. And but in the pirate time, you looked through that thing so many times that you got blind. You actually lost the sight in your eye. So with my back injury, it actually killed me in that lifetime. It wasn't going to kill me this lifetime. It was going to be annoying and difficult, but it wasn't going to kill me. The idea here is to gain the awareness, reevaluate what's still true, what's not true, what can I change, not only in my own soul story, but in my daily life as well. So for the example of my back injury, I could have this immediate shift by seeing why I was resistant to being a healer. And I could clear that. I could say, I release my fear of the past repeating. I'm wiser, I'm stronger, and the world is a different place. I've chosen wisely this time who I am, which culture I came into. It's going to be safe for me to be a healer this lifetime. And in fact, it's my soul path. And I was going to be frustrated and torturing myself until I jumped onto that.
Right.
So, but the other thing is, then you kind of say, okay, what else can I do to really move this forward? And one of the special things that I've done in my past life work is I come up with revisioning techniques. I come up with some immediate way of rewriting the story. We're each our own writer, director, and actor. So if you can come up with a new story. So what I did in that other past life was I went back into kind of a self-hypnosis meditation. I imagined myself as that man in my herbal building. And instead of the crowd coming, I became this powerful white light butterfly, superhero, whatever, and so much love and strength and energy coming off of me that when the crowd came down the street, they went, wow, what's this beautiful angel? We're going to go in here and see if we can, see God or whatever. And so you just imagine, I imagined the crowd embracing me, welcoming me, wanting what I had to offer, and we're all celebrating, and it's good for everybody. And that actually gave me, it shifted me from my resistance to being it, to actually being enthusiastic. And strangely enough, I didn't get any resistance. I got more of the people like the ones I had imagined in the transformation that I made.
Yeah. So during my own revisioning technique that I did with Daryl, I was going to be hung, or I was hung in a past life for doing my midwifery work, helping moms deliver their babies, for basically being the town midwife, which really meant taking care of all of the health issues of the town, especially the women and the children. And there was a woman who was very jealous of me and turned me in for being a witch. And my revisioning, instead of seeing myself get hung, I saw the townspeople gathering around to stand up for me and protect me. So one couple came up like, don't you remember when we had twins? She helped us through that birth that we couldn't have done alone. And then another man, yeah, she brought me that soup when I was sick. And just envisioning the whole, like changing the memory of the way that it was. I mean, it was pretty horrific to be hung, to
like so many of us have been.
Right? Like so many of us have been, having the whole townspeople come and support me and talk the executioner out of killing me. And so that was really powerful. And then I am now much clearer of my throat chakra. And so I tell most of my Reiki students, and you'll even notice on working on yourselves, when you're giving yourself Reiki, that can be super fragile space.
Yeah.
And so when I'm working on a client, I'm hovering like a good 4 inches above neck. I don't want them to even have awareness of that I'm working on their throat, because so many of our past lives, we've been hung, we've been gagged, we've been shackled, we've been choked. Like there's so many. And so this is such a sensitive area that I really take caution when I'm working on people's throats. We can work way out here on it, and it's just as effective. And then coming to the deeper issue, if it doesn't come up in your Reiki session, by doing direct past life work with someone like Daryl or with Daryl, sometimes things will come up past life, but it's like I said, it's not my number one expertise.
Yeah. So is there a question that wants to be addressed here? Did somebody put a question?
So the question, it looks like you've already answered it, I think, Cassidy said. So let me just read through it. It says, correct me if I'm misunderstood, but the part of your past life who was beaten for practicing his craft led you also feeling the need to suppress your gift and being seen as abnormal. So yeah, it looks like we answered that.
Yeah. And there was one other example that I wanted to give that's a pretty common one. The neck constriction is a really common one, being hung or persecuted in some way or punished. But there's also a lot of women, especially, and some men that I've worked with weight issues, whether it be anorexia and bulimia, or constantly being overweight, or just really struggling with food, having food allergies, different situations where they can't eat a certain thing, or intestinal problems. And there's so many different past life stories, but a lot of times the weight issues are either you were starving, and so you want to make sure you don't starve, so you keep eating and it's never enough. Or maybe you were one of those really wealthy people like Marie Antoinette that you were just big and gorged all the time, and you didn't pay attention to others. And so now you're really super skinny and you don't feel entitled to eat. And you just, you keep thinking that you're afraid of being too big. You're afraid of being overfed, which can kind of make you react overly to present day circumstance. And that's one of the main things to recognize about past life. We can be like autopilot, animal instinct with things, and our reaction to a situation is going to be way more extreme than someone else's. So if we have a past life, there's other people maybe out there that didn't have a past life where they got hung as a witch, and they're just out there bold as can be, so doing their thing. But for someone like me, I was like totally freaked out about letting somebody at my job know I liked astrology. So the whole idea about past lives is we overreact. So the weight issue thing is oftentimes if you can go back in and see what the past life is, then you lose your emotional attachment from that past life to what your connection to food is. Maybe you had children that starved in this lifetime, you don't feel entitled to eat. So there's all kinds of different tangled up weavings that can happen. I've worked with people with asthma, a lot of times the health issues, the medical profession have a really hard time figuring out or treating. And so that's why, I mean, some medical issues, I broke my leg, put it in a cast, it's going to heal. It's fine. But there's, even in that circumstance, there's always a what's more for me to learn. You know, why did this happen? What's my body trying to tell me? But I really feel strongly that healing has to happen on multi-levels. Deal with the physical, diet, nutrition, maybe even some surgery if you need some surgery. Sometimes the knife is a good thing. Whatever kind of other healing modalities, massage, energy work. But to do the past life can kind of clear out that underlying issue so that your body can stop screaming at you.
Yeah. And so I feel like from my own personal experience, when you feel like you've been triggered, one of the questions that you can ask yourself is, what is the feeling of this trigger? Is it present day or does it feel deeper? You know, so like I remember one of my past life memories, one of my first ones that I started remembering was me looking outside at my first husband doing the yard work and me getting really jealous that he was outside doing the yard work. Now, I don't like yard work. This is a trigger, right? Like I can garden, but I don't care to mow the lawn. Like I don't want to mow the lawn. So why am I getting these emotions coming up? And so I took a moment and I just closed my eyes and breathed and go, what is this connected to? And it was that there was a past life when I was a colonial woman and I was the woman who had to stay inside and butcher the chicken and do all the housework. And I was being envious of the men outside working the fields. And so it was totally a past life memory coming through. But now I realize when I get envious of people outside doing yard work, that's what it's from. Yeah. Because it was a really strong feeling then. And, you know, and I also remember her being really fairly overweight and really strong and muscular. And then I chose this body, which is like complete contrast to that. And I have memories like, man, I wish I could open this jar. If I would have had that body right now, I would have been able to open this jar. You know, so things come through and sometimes it's little like that. And sometimes a lot of times, most of the times, it's the big physical issues that are trying to get our attention and it has a past life connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
So
address before we run out of time?
Yeah. Do you guys have any general health issue questions? Not that we can get into your specific issues and do sessions right here, but a general thing where Daryl can just say, oh, I've seen this, you know, 50 times. This is what most likely it's connected to. If you have those type of general connection issue questions, you can throw them out. And then I'm going to give Daryl an opportunity to tell us a little bit about what she offers and how she can help you support you directly, Cassidy, in doing some past life work. So why don't, Cindy, I'm not sure if that came through. It looks like I care, but I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what that means.
Is it supposed to be I care?
I'm not sure. I'm not, yeah.
I wouldn't know.
I'm not sure what you're trying to ask.
Typing is funny.
Yeah, so try to write it out in a sentence. And while you guys kind of put your thought processes together. Oh, Cassie, she's like, I went quiet because I didn't know where to start on her health issues. No, I understand. you. I mean, so many of us have so many, and doing the past life work, like when I did my work with Daryl on the ulcerative colitis, I still have more work to do with her on the migraines and really narrow that down. But it really helped me go, oh, that makes sense. And so now that I can see the connection, I can take a deep breath and go, I can let this go. This is just a past life connection that now that I see it, I can release it. And so changing.
Sorry.
Go for it, Daryl. Absolutely.
I do want to mention something, and that is that most of us, when we get a health issue, we have an injury, we have an illness, we get a lot of fear wrapped around that. We get like, it's not just an inconvenience. It's not just like, oh, my, tabletop is scratched up. It's like you get fear around it. You get, oh my God, because you're triggered to all the other times that your life was cut short or made miserable by injury and disease. And so one of the things that I find really valuable is if you just kind of go, I can take a deep breath. Even if you don't know what the past life is, you can say, something's coming up. I'm paying attention. Okay, I'm paying attention. I'm open to receiving messages. I'm open to receiving clarity about this. And to just kind of calm down a little bit and recognize that it's something that can be lesser. And the other point I wanted to make about physical disease or injury and past lives is oftentimes you have a situation in your childhood that activated it, that triggered it. So like what I described with that rock in the pond, the past life was the rock. Childhood's maybe the first ripple. And then there's other ripples that you're feeling or having being triggered now. But you can also have several past lifetimes where those same sorts of things are being reinforced. There's that one life of mine where I was beaten with the sticks. There's another lifetime where I'm hung as a witch. There's another one I'm burned at the stake. So all of those are like somebody's throwing several pebbles in the same pond, and it gets really complex. And it sort of reinforces the not disease, but it reinforces the core thing that your soul is screaming at you about.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. You can really follow your fear. And if you follow your fear, it's going to teach you something about this past life connection. And so, like, for example, the other day I was with a friend and we were talking about going camping together. And she says, I want to be in a big campground with lots of people because I'm terrified it's going to eat me or kill me. And I said, well, I am a gourmet cook when it comes to camping. I bring a ton of food, like 3 times as much as I need, because I'm afraid that I'm going to be hungry. And so it was like just from fear, I was like, you probably were killed in a past life by a wild animal, and I probably starved to death.
And I would be sitting there going, I'm not afraid of any of that. I just don't want to get any bug bites. So
there, it's like follow the fear, and it can tell you something.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So at this point, since we're coming to a close, I would really like to invite Daryl to help share some of her information. She does have a book, and she's got a website, and she's got all this great stuff to share with you guys. And so I want to give her time to do that as well.
Okay, well, I do have a book out, and I'm going to type what it is. And it's basically, it's called Opening a Window to the Soul. And the subtitle is A Guide to Living Beyond the Human Drama. It has all kinds of information about the physical earth suit, the soul agreements, family, birth family, spirit guides. There's an extensive discussion of past lives with a lot of examples and how to heal with that. Talk about love relationships and the soul agreements involved in that. So it's like a kind of an overview of how I work with, the kind of the concepts of the soul perspective. So I do clairvoyant readings, which means by phone, in person, Skype, and email. I tune in, I get a message for the soul, I call in my spirit guides. And I basically just close my eyes and I see pictures that tell stories. And like I said, it's kind of it's my superpower. I can just you can say, oh, what about my back injury? I close my eyes and the whole movie just plays out and I can tell you what it is and know the causes and effects right away. So I'd be happy to work with anybody to kind of just pinpoint the root cause of any of these situations. I have a website, and there are several videos on the website that you can watch and get some guided visualizations and some kind of ways of instant, sort of, I don't know, whatever I call it, just adjustment. So yeah, I would be happy to work with any of you who feel called to work with me. And let's see, what else was the other thing? Oh, the book is available either through my website, in which case I'd sign it and mail it to you, or through Amazon and Kindle. And I'm currently working on, I've got a whole series of workshops and teaching that I do as well. And Christine's kind of being my mentor in that. So I'm really grateful to be here today to kind of be on this. It's a test run for me. I've never done this. So
he hasn't been on a webinar before, you guys. And you'll kick butt. You've done tons of live stuff.
I've been teaching in person. I've been going to Japan and doing work all over the place. But what else? Feel free to send me an email. Let me know you saw me on the on this series, and good luck.
Yeah, I think this is great. I wanted to give you guys just a broad overview of how this really can affect your physical health conditions. And, you can start know that you are feeling that you have a past life connection to your health problem. Start having that intention with your Reiki practice. So when you do your self Reiki during this Reiki challenge, ask that the Reiki go not only to the physical body, but go to the direct source of the cause. And so I'll have a client come in who said, I've seen Reiki clients or Reiki practitioners before, and this keeps coming back. And it's like, you need to ask to go and send the Reiki to the root cause and see if it can help provide some relief to whatever the root is. And so a lot of times, if you are seeing things come up over and over and over again, it very well could have a past life connection. Yep. So I'm really happy that you guys came on, that this was very educational in a fairly broad sense. And now that you have some resources available to you, whether if you want to contact me for a discussion and have it more be a Reiki-based shamanic journey, or you want to go all the way and really get the movie screen picture through Daryl, which is amazing. I highly recommend her.
So here's I want to throw something out as an idea. I could work with somebody and give them all the details and the story and the work, and to revision it and to change out the story. And then you could take that information and work with Christine, who would do even deeper work on an energy level. You could share what you've learned, and it would just sort of amplify everything.
Totally. Absolutely. Maybe we need to combine our a package for you guys and then send it to you in an email. What do you guys think about that? We'll figure out a package deal and send it to you guys.
Christine, thank you so much for having me on your webinar.
I'm so happy you joined us. Yay. So I love it. I love working with Daryl. I'm super happy that we had an opportunity to do this. And I'm really glad that you guys got this information. So feel free to reach out to either one of us if you have further questions or want to book a session. And we'll keep working on our daily Reiki care. I'll be in touch with you guys on making sure that you're doing your practice, and if you have any health goals that I should be aware of. And we'll do a Reiki love blast probably tonight or tomorrow night. I'll text some folks. I need to make sure that the Al can do it tonight. So I'll be in touch, and I'll see you in the Reiki Cafe. How's that? Yay. Take care, guys.